The cowboy's horse had been missing for 3 days. It returned with an injured Apache woman. Dawn slides over the empty corrals like a thin sheet of copper, and Eli Mercer stands with one boot on the bottom rail, listening. No nickering, no hoof shuffle, just wind worrying the sage and the dry creak of a windmill that can't quite find its rhythm. For 3 days, his best mare, Clover, has been gone. Not stolen. Eli knows the clean, greedy look of theft. This felt different. A latch lifted, a rope end gnawed, and then only the desert swallowing tracks until the next gust erased them. He rides anyway, because a man who quits looking has already said goodbye. Every mile is a question. Did she find water? Did she find trouble? On the 3rd evening, the sky turns the color of old bruises, and the first cold drops tap his hat brim. Eli is turning back when a sound pricks the air, a single steady whicker. Clover steps out of the mesquite, sides lathered, reins dragging, and behind her, half slumped across the saddle blanket, is a woman. She is wrapped in a faded blue shawl, dark hair pinned in a knot that's come undone. Her ankle is swollen, and the way she grips the horn is not dramatic, just stubborn, the grip of someone refusing to fall again. Eli doesn't move at first. Frontier life teaches caution the way it teaches thirst. But Clover noses his shoulder, warm breath on his sleeve, and in that touch there is an urgency that feels almost human. He eases the woman down, careful as if she's made of glass. Her eyes open, sharp, alert, taking him in, then the open country beyond. She tries to speak, and only a rasp comes out. Then, in English worn with fatigue, she manages, "Water, please." Eli brings a tin cup, holding it so she can drink without choking. Begins to rain, pattering on the roof. When she swallows, color returns in small steps, like a lantern being coaxed back to life. "My name is Sani," she says after a moment, voice thin but steady. "And yours?" "Eli," he answers. He doesn't offer his last name. Out here, names can be invitations. He helps her to the tack room bench and notices the details. A strip of wed cloth tied to Clover's mane, knotted with care. A small leather pouch at Sani's belt, stitched with tiny beads in a pattern Eli has never seen, yet something about it tugs at an old memory he can't place. Sani's gaze keeps sliding to the horizon, as if she's listening for something the ranch can't hear. "Your horse found me," she says. "She didn't leave when I fell." Night comes fast, rain turning to a steady drum. Eli builds a fire in the stove, not for comfort. He tells himself it's for heat, for drying her clothes, for keeping sickness away. Still, when Sani's shoulders finally drop an inch, when her breathing evens, the room feels less hollow. In Cottonwood Wash, folks have been restless for weeks. The creek is a trickle. The storekeeper counts beans like they're coins. Men talk in low voices about strangers and borders and who belongs where. Eli knows what they will say when he brings an Apache woman into their light. So he keeps her at the ranch that first night. He wraps her ankle with a clean strip of cloth, then sets a kettle to boil, because his mother once taught him that warm water can do what pride cannot. Sani watches him with an expression that isn't so much gratitude as calculation. "What will you do in the morning?" she asks. "I'll take you to someone who can help, and then we'll hear what you want." Sani nods, but her fingers tighten on the beaded pouch. In the firelight, Eli catches a glimpse of something tucked inside, thin as paper, pale as bone. A map? A letter? A warning? Outside, the rain stopped as suddenly as it began. The desert goes too quiet. and far beyond the dark line of hills, a call carries on the wind, 3 sharp notes, repeated. Sonny's face changes. Recognition. Eli's hand pauses over the lamp. Who is out there calling, and why did Clover bring Sonny here instead of running from it? Morning comes bright and scrubbed, but the strange call from the night still sits in Eli's chest. He rigs a padded box on a calm mule for Sonny and rides to Cottonwood Wash, with Clover pacing close behind. The town notices. Faces gather in doorways, voices drop. Eli keeps moving, because stopping would invite the wrong kind of questions. He brings Sonny to Lottie Crane's little clinic behind the feed store. Lottie is gray-haired, sharp, and impossible to bully. She tests the ankle, wraps it tight, and says, "Sprain. You'll heal if you stop running." Outside, a few men linger near the trough, pretending not to stare. Eli hears Apache said like it's a warning. Lottie steps onto the porch and holds the doorway with her shoulders. "This woman is safe here today. If you want trouble, bring it to me." The men drift away because most of them owe Lottie more than pride. When the room settles, Eli asks quietly, "That call last night, was it for you?" Sonny watches him for a long beat, then opens her beaded pouch. Inside is a thick, hand-drawn map. Not fences, water. Marks for seeps, old wells, and one spring drawn with a small rising sun symbol. "My grandmother made this. The spring still runs, but if the wrong people find it, they'll claim it." Her voice tightens. "My little brother went looking for it. He hasn't come back." A map like this can be a gift or a trap. Which will it be? Eli leans in. "So why come to me?" Sonny glances at the window where Clover's shadow moves across the dirt. "Because your horse didn't leave me. She chose your gate." Before Eli can answer, the light outside shifts. A low roar builds beyond the cottonwoods. Cottonwood Creek, thin for months, swells fast and brown, pushing branches and foam. People spill into the street. The footbridge groans. Sonny's eyes track the water like she's reading a page. If the town refuses to listen to her now, will anyone listen in time? Behind the mill, an old spillway. It's blocked. Clear it, and the creek will split. One man snaps, "How would you know?" Sonny answers without heat, "By listening to this land." Eli doesn't wait for permission. He and 3 others sprint behind the mill and find the stone channel choked with silt and tumbleweed. They dig and pry until the blockage gives. Water rushes into the spillway. The bridges groan, easing into silence. When the surge settles, the town stands dripping and quiet, realizing what almost happened, and realizing who kept them from losing more. Eli hurries back to the clinic. Sonny is gone. His stomach drops. Then Clover appears at the corner, leading the mule like a careful escort. Sonny is on its back, reaching down as a small boy runs from an alley, soaked and shaking. He wraps his arms around her, and her face finally softens. "My brother," she whispers. That evening, kindness arrives without speeches. Biscuits show up at the clinic door. A mesquite crutch appears, sanded smooth. Fresh bandages left like a secret. 2 mornings later, before sunrise, Sonny leads Eli and Lottie into the Bassauk Hills. They walk until they hear it, a thin, steady trickle. The spring sits tucked in a hollow, clear and modest, not enough for greed, enough for life, if life is shared. Eli watches the water pool over stone, and something inside him unclenches. He thinks of neighbors digging together, of Clover bringing a stranger home, of a town learning one action at a time how to make room. They write a simple agreement. protect the spring, tend the creek, welcome one another in hard seasons. When Sonny leaves, ankle stronger, she ties a fresh strip of red cloth into Clover's mane. Not a claim, just thanks. Eli stands at his fence line as Sonny and the boy fade into the pale gold distance. The windmill catches the breeze and turns, steady at last. And where the desert once sounded like nothing at all, it now carries water and a beginning.